the latest transfer news. Now we have updates on Gyokeres as always, and a new name emerged yesterday, Julian Alvarez from Atletico Madrid. We are going to discuss that one, and also we have reports on Zinchenko, Arsenal being happy with Zinchenko leaving this transfer window. So my question is, how much do you think we should be getting for Zinchenko in the transfer market this summer transfer window? Should we be asking for 10 million, 15 million, 20 million? Let me know how much you'd be asking for Zinchenko before he leaves. So let's start with Gyokeres. So this is the first of today's updates on Gyokeres. Ryan Taylor Sports says Arsenal are considered front runners for Victor Gyokeres should they wish to follow up on their interest. So if we decide to go for Victor Gyokeres, we are the favorites to buy him. But that is if we decide to go for him. If we don't decide to go for him and decide to go for the other strikers, then obviously we won't be getting him. But if we do want him, then we are going to be the favorites. He'd probably be happy to join us, but it depends on a lot of stuff. I think if Gyokeres doesn't join Arsenal, it won't be because he preferred to join any other team or because, another team paid more money for him. I don't think it's going to be any of that. If we don't get Gyokeres, it's going to be because we preferred different strikers because they're younger or because of style of play or maybe wages or something like that. I don't even know how much he's asking for in terms of wages, but that is where now we are looking at this guy. The reason I'm confident heading into this transfer window is because of Andrea Berta. Andrea Berta is a director who can convince players like Gyokeres, whether it's in terms of wages, whether it's in terms of, convincing the agent, whether it's in terms of playing time, everything. That is a person who's signed big strikers before, including Julian Alvarez, who we are going to talk about next up. So if we decide to go for Gyokeres, we are going to get him. Now, the good thing with this transfer window, teams are moving very fast. The transfer window is not even open yet. It's opening on Sunday. We are going to get to know very, very quickly who we are going to sign or who we are not going to sign, because we are not just going to, last time there was the Euros, people are like, okay, teams are going to start signing players in July and August, and that was the case. This time round, we are going to have to sign these players by June because other teams will come in for them. Most of these players will be gone by June. So that is another positive that I have right now, apart from Andrea Berta joining us, is because we have to go for players quickly, because if we don't, they're going to move on to other teams. So we have no choice but to go for these players quickly. So let's see what happens with Gyokeres. This is a striker really, in my head, he's already an Arsenal player, which is it's not a good thing because we are linked to other strikers. But in my head, this guy already plays for Arsenal. In my head, I'm like, man, this guy would be absolutely incredible if he played for us. We've not had a striker like this in a while. Aubameyang was great, man. If you go and watch Aubameyang in 2018, 2019, the kind of finishes he was having, the kind of runs he had into the box, runs in behind, one-touch finishes. We need a striker like that, man. Hopefully we can get him, but if we don't go for him, then he's not going to join us. But if we push for him, he's going to join us. Now, at the moment, I'm still thinking it's 60% Sesko, 40% Gyokeres in terms of Arsenal. For me, I 100% want Gyokeres, but for the team, I feel like if I was to say who they're going to sign right now, I'd say they're going to sign Sesko 60%, Gyokeres 40%. So let's see what happens. Now, yesterday, some news came out. I was literally in front of the computer yesterday, but I was like, nah, we can't talk about another player again today. Let's just wait for tomorrow and see if anything develops. And that player is Julian Alvarez, a player who used to play for Man City not long ago. Actually, I would say this is one of the players that made Man City win the league ahead of us last season. Yep. There's some crucial goals he scored last season, and which is one of the reasons why they ended up winning that trophy. Also, the club pushing the hardest to sign Julian Alvarez. Andrea Berta is familiar with the striker from his time at Atletico Madrid and has put the name among the priorities for the window. Now, Andrea Berta signed him. Andrea Berta is the one who signed him to Atletico Madrid, one of the top strikers that he signed over there. And he was really good at Man City. Last season, I think he had something like either 27 goals or 29 goals plus 7 assists for Atletico Madrid. Very, very good for his first season in Spain. Now, the thing is, I know a lot of people usually say, Arsenal today it's Semenyo, tomorrow it's Nico Williams, the next day it's Lookman, the next day it's Rodrigo. That is true at some points. That is usually true. But Sometimes also maybe this information is not really coming from the club and some journalists are assuming. Now for this one, I could see why we could want him. Andrea Berta worked with him and all that, but would I expect Julian Alvarez to join Arsenal? I really doubt. Now, has Julian Alvarez improved since he went to Atletico Madrid? I think so. How much money did they buy him for? 81 million pounds. So if Alvarez leaves Atletico Madrid today, we are not going to sign him for anything less than 80 million pounds. Are we going to go and splash that kind of money for a player who's better play in behind a striker? This is a player you'd have like supporting Haaland, or whenever Haaland was not there, he'd be the one who's playing. But if you sign Alvarez, that means he's your main signing. I don't think there would be a way where you sign Gyokeres and Sesko, one of them, and then you also sign Alvarez. I would be absolutely astonished if that happened. I'd be over the moon. I'd be like, what? Are we actually doing that? But that the chances of that happening is almost close to zero. So sometimes you think, is it because, there's some links with him and Berta, so journalists are just assuming, let's just put news out there that Arsenal want him and let's see, whether it sticks. It could be that. So sometimes it's not really the club who, want this player and want this player. I feel like sometimes journalists just assume that, okay, let's just put 2 and 2 together. This player used to play for this one. This manager used to be here. Let's just say he wants him because he wants to leave this club. Let's just link them together. Let's just say they want him. So sometimes that could happen. But Julian Alvarez would be a top signing. He's played in the Premier League before. Last season, he had 19 goals for Man City, plus a few assists here and there too. And I remember there's some goals he scored like Newcastle. I think they won 1-0 and Alvarez had an incredible game. And whenever Haaland missed any games over the last couple of years, Alvarez usually used to step up for them. And one of the reasons Man City didn't do well this season is obviously because Rodri was out, but because they didn't have a backup for Haaland as well. The previous season, they had Alvarez to step up. This past season, they didn't have anyone. So that's another reason. So if you get someone like an Alvarez, would be a good signing, but I can't really see it happening. And yeah, I do agree it's a bit tiring sometimes when you hear Semenyo today and then you hear Alvarez tomorrow and then Sesko the night and then Gyokeres the morning. It's a bit too much. But the good thing is I feel like we're going to get to know who you're going to sign very, very early in the transfer window, and you won't have to stress about it all the way to July, thinking about who are we going to sign, how much money is this one and that one. No, we'll have our answer very, very quickly. So the transfer window is opening in January. Let's see how quickly we'll get an answer. Zinchenko. So Hand of Arsenal has just reported that Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for Alexander Zinchenko. The club had difficulty selling the Ukrainian captain due to his unique play style in the winter market. If a reasonable offer arises, he will be sold. I've not checked this, but I think the time I was checking the contracts of Gabriel Saliba Saka, I think I saw that Zinchenko's contract is expiring next year. Don't take my word for it, but I feel like that is the case. I feel like his contract is expiring 2026 because he joined us in 2022. I think he signed a 4-year contract. So he has 1 year remaining on his contract, I think, 70% sure. So if he does not sign a contract right now, or if he doesn't leave right now, it's going to be